What's up YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be walking you guys through some stretches for your lower extremities and talk about some of the muscles that are most commonly getting tight in a good amount of the population. This video is pretty much inspired by my mother, who I was recently visiting, and she's just having a lot of tightness in her hips. So I wanted to dedicate this video to her and something that she can, just kind of look at whenever she needs some simple stretches to do. And I thought it would be really helpful for more of you guys out there. So if you like this video, please like it, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel. I'll be having more videos that are similar to this one, and a lot of other great content coming your way. So yeah. All right, so let's get into the video and I'll show you some really great stretches for our lower extremities. All right, you guys, so first stretch we're gonna do is for our hamstrings. The hamstrings are the muscle that's at the back of our thigh. So it attaches from the bottom of our sits bone and it attaches to back here. It crosses the knee joint and it attaches, you have two different hamstring groups, but they both attach below that knee joint. So the hamstrings do knee flexion and they also do hip extension, which is bringing your femur back like so. So to stretch, we need to do the opposite. We need to bring our hip into flexion, and we also need to straighten out the knee joint. So I'm just gonna stick my leg out. It's helpful if you have a cushion for this part for your knee right here. And I'm using a yoga block for a little bit of balance and stability. And you're gonna keep your knee slightly bent and you're gonna hinge over. So I'm just pushing my hips backward. If I was trying to touch those cabinets behind me, I'm keeping my torso tall and I'm just pushing my hips back and kind of folding over to my front leg. Keep your toes pointed towards your face. So don't point them down and away from you. Keep your foot flexed, bring your toes to your face and hinge over. If you need to straighten out your knee a little bit more to get a deeper stretch, that's a good way to do it. So a lot of you can start here with that hamstring stretch. If it feels really comfortable or you don't feel much of a stretch, you can just come down onto the floor. And I like to have this knee folded on this side, and I'll just do the same thing. So I'm gonna just kind of fold my body over. I'm keeping my chest tall. I'm not just collapsing in my spine. This isn't really stretching my back thigh. This is just collapsing my spine and rounding my shoulders. So stay tall and then reach your fingertips towards your toes, and you should feel a really good stretch for those hamstrings. While we're in this position, let's stretch our inner thighs. So I'm just gonna kick this leg out, opposite side, and same thing, I'm gonna maintain an upright posture and I'm gonna hinge over and fold over. You can start to reach your fingers towards your toes. I have the flexibility that I can kind of grab my toes and hinge over here and fold over like this. I feel a really nice stretch in here. Some of you definitely won't have that flexibility, so you can use a yoga block or a couple pretty firm pillows, stack up those pillows and do this position from here. So that's a really great one to get in those inner thighs. So since we're already on the floor, I'm gonna show you guys one of my favorite stretches. It's the pigeon stretch, and it's stretching our glute max and our piriformis, and those muscles often tend to get really tight. I'm gonna show you how to stretch that, and that's gonna be that outer hip and kind of back here into the butt. So a lot of us might feel this stretch really intense. I'm gonna kick my leg back out of the way. And the full pose is whenever your ankle is lined up to your knee, and then this leg needs to be back here. So from this, you can fold over. However, a lot of us won't be able to do that full pose. So you can either bend more at the knee and get your ankle more inward towards that other thigh. Can you guys see what I did there? I went from this position to this position, and you could try that and then folding over. You can also use a block and prop up the front hip that you're stretching, block that up, and now suddenly you're a lot taller. Let me face the camera here. So this leg is gonna go back, and then this leg, and then you're just gonna lean forward. Lean forward until you feel a stretch in that outer hip. A different way that you could do this, if this is still hard for you to achieve, simply come onto your back. This could be on some sort of firm surface. The floor or the couch works. And let me see here. So we're just gonna start with our knees bent, and then I'm gonna cross one leg. I'm gonna cross this ankle over my opposite knee. And now I'm gonna push my knee out. Humphrey, it's okay. So now I'm gonna push my knee out so that my knee and my ankle are in a straight line, right? You're not gonna feel too much of a stretch if your knee is up here. Let me turn. You want your knee in line with your ankle. That's helping get external rotation at the hip, and pushing that hip into external rotation is what's gonna help stretch that piriformis. If you don't feel much of a stretch from here yet, then you just pick up the other leg, and I like to use my hands wrapping around my thigh and pull inward. However, I don't let my knee change. I kind of use this elbow to push my knee so it's still in line with that ankle as I now bring my other leg towards my chest. And now I feel a really good stretch, like right here in that outer hip and that kind of butt area. So that's a really nice one to do. And then since we're on our backs, this is a good stretch for either the glute max, and some of us are TFL, which is a muscle on the side. Some of us might feel this more in that TFL. It just kind of depends on how tight you are. So I'm gonna bring my knee into my chest first, and then I'm gonna use my hand and push my knee opposite to the opposite side. But I'm not just letting my torso twist over completely. I'm trying to think of keeping this part of my back on the ground. And then I'm gonna stretch this hip away from your back. Another way you could do this stretch is to keep your legs straight and then cross it over. And I feel that stretch a little bit more in the outside of my hip and a little bit in that lateral hamstring there. So that's a good one. This is really great to do with a strap. So just use a strap, loop it around your foot, start with your legs straight. Don't have your knee overly bent. So straighten your leg completely, and then let your leg fall to the opposite side. And I feel, again, a really good stretch in that outer hip, but also kind of like this lateral hamstring, this outside hamstring. That's another really good stretch. You could also do your hamstring stretch this way with using like a belt or a strap of some sort. Same thing, just loop it around the bottom of your foot and then lift up your leg using the assistance from the strap. Don't just use your hip flexor muscle to lift your leg up. Use assistance from the strap and then lift that towards the air. Make sure that your leg is nice and straight. If you bend your knee, then you're not stretching out that hamstring, right? So push up and then pull until you feel a good stretch in that hamstring. All right, let's stretch out our calves. I'm using a yoga block right here on the floor just to kind of show you guys a little bit better. I'm gonna keep my heel on the floor and lift up my foot against that block. My leg is straight here and I'm just gonna lean forward, keeping my legs straight. And then I feel a really nice stretch in that calf muscle. So the challenge with this one is to not bend your knee as you come forward. So I'm keeping my leg where it is and I'm using my back leg to push myself forward. One, if you bend your knee and lean forward, you could do a calf stretch that's hitting a different muscle, but most of you probably aren't really gonna feel this one. Or two, if you put your foot here, but then you just lean your torso forward like this, you're also not stretching that calf. You need to straighten out your knee and then shift your whole body weight forward. It's good to hold onto a wall if you need to and stretch your calf like this. Let's see if I show you against the wall. Here I have my foot flexed. I'm gonna put my toes on the wall, my heel is down on the floor, and then from here, I'm gonna lean myself forward. I'm pushing off this back leg to get there. Lean forward, and I feel that stretch back here in that calf. Okay guys, so for each of those stretches, it's great to hold each one for at least 30 seconds. You could hold your stretches from anywhere between 30 seconds to 120 seconds. You also want to make sure that you're not pushing yourself so deep into the stretch that it's super painful and that you're just like super tensed up waiting to bust out of that stretch, right? We want gentle, push your range of motion just gently and hold it for at least those 30 seconds. If you're holding it for any less, then your muscles don't really get the time that they need to kind of elongate and stretch out. Another thing to note is that stretching isn't always going to be the only solution to tightness, and it's really important to not only consistently stretch, but activate your muscles somehow through activity. So it could be walking, it could be yoga, it could be resistance training, it could be swimming, it could be a number of things that help keep you active and moving in daily life. Some people just tend to have a little bit more imbalance in their musculature. Some muscles tend to get really over tight depending on what you do for a living, and other muscles are getting elongated and overstretched, and that just creates imbalances sometimes. And I'll have more videos on that in the future on my channel that you guys can check out. But for now, it's important to have a consistent stretching routine and make sure that you are active. If you are sitting on the couch, you're sitting to drive to work, you're sitting at work, at your desk, that's so much sitting, and just doing 10 minutes of stretching isn't gonna combat that enough. So you need to make some sort of activity a part of a regular routine for you. I just wanted to make that clear. So I hope you guys find this video really helpful, and let me know in the comments below if you tried any of them and you added any of them to your daily routine. If you have any questions, you could always message me or leave some questions in the comments below. I will catch you guys in another video.